Hi guys, this is Clazart with Diggity and Rise bringing you the MSL quarterfinals. This is going to be starting up with Game 2 here. Game 1 was played last week for all the MSL round of 8 matches. And this is going to be probably the Marquee series or Marquee, I don't know how that's the most popular pronunciation of that word, between Jaedong and Canata. And in a huge twist of events, Canata actually took the game on Outsider with an innovative 8 racks bunker rush. I feel a rush that's almost built for that map, a build that's designed for that map because of the distances involved and the fact that it's a 3-player map as opposed to a 4-player map. But this is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how Jaedong bounces back from it, and how Canata responds to being ahead.
Yeah, I gotta feel like Canata's gotta keep Jaedong on his toes. He's gotta keep him out of his regular game, because we all know what happens when Jaedong gets in his flow. He's just absolutely a beast to beat. And crazily, there's so many other Zerg out there in the round of 8. I almost feel like Canata is the best chance out of any of these players to knock Jaedong out. Otherwise, I fear it might be another title for Jaedong, just because he's such a beast. Right now, it looks like Jaedong is building that Overlord first. He's already... this is a 2-player map. What's kind of odd about this is because of the distances, you can actually go 12 hatch without worrying about it too much. We'll see what Canata does as well. I would not be surprised to see him go for an early command center right now, just putting that supply depot down, so it doesn't look like he's going to go for an 8 racks as well. But Canata, not known for being very strong versus Zerg. Usually he's known for his TVT, but it almost feels like this season he's picked it up and he's kind of living up to basically what everyone was hoping he'd live up to before. He was expected to be kind of the neo-boxer. He was the guy, another one of those strong SKT Terrans, and for whatever reason he just faltered and was never able to break into that S-rank status. And right now he's playing at a very high level. This might be his time to shine.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't count Jaedong out either. I mean, he is, of course, the Tyrant, the Legend Killer, and, of course, I mean, that means that he's got a very good chance in taking this game and this entire series, even though he is down 1 game at this point. And it looks like we are going to see, oh, man, a very fast expansion coming from Canata. So that's some ballsy play right there. Certainly not wasting any time, and really, this could work against Jaedong pretty well, considering Jaedong has gone for a 12 hatch himself, and so he's going to have a lot of time, and this is a pretty long map. It is a 2-player map, so you know where the other player is, of course, but it's a pretty long distance to get to the other guy's base, and so Canata may have just picked a great strategy to possibly pick up a 2nd game in a row, but Jaedong is going to scout this out shortly, I would imagine. The question is, what type of pressure will he put on? Now, the thing about this map is, it's very easy to do a run-by in this map. If you're a Zerg player against a Terran, it is difficult to wall it off. Even if they put a bunker in the front, we've seen players amass a lot of Lings or later on even go Hydras on this map and be very successful with it against a Terran player in these exact positions. So I'm not quite sure what Jaedong's going to decide to do yet. Of course, Muta could also be a very good idea for him to go, because he's just got a ridiculous Muta micro, as everybody knows. So we'll have to see where he decides to go. It looks like we're going to see a standard Medic and Marine build, though, coming from Canata, which I like at this point, to get very quick defense up against anything that Jaedong can throw at him. So either way, it looks like we're going to start seeing a push into the mid-game versus any early game play right now.
Yeah, Jaedong has got his Overlord over there, so he's going to see that 2nd racks. He actually, I think, stopped his Overlord and then went back again because he hadn't gotten enough vision, hadn't seen everything he needed to see. He's put his 3rd hatchery down as well, now taking his gas out and just getting a couple of Lings out to try and deal with that SCV. That was poor micro by Canata there. With only 2 Lings out from Jaedong, he didn't really do a good job of kind of avoiding them and microing it. He just kind of let it sit there and take quite a lot of hits. And it does look like that SCV scout is going to be pushed out and going to go down relatively quickly. And I also find this an interesting feature of 2-player maps. I find it to be quite a regular feature where even in 2-player maps where you know your opponent is, the actual spawn point distances are longer than they are in some 4-player maps, for example, where you can actually get to your opponent's base quicker provided you scout in the right direction. So even when you send your scout to your opponent's base on a 2-player map, you often don't get there quickly enough to spot, and I think they're specifically designed that way, to quickly enough to spot any sort of cheese attempt or any sort of fast expand, really to affect your own opening build. And you kind of have to, because Jaedong had his kind of 3rd hatchery, I think, down almost before he saw the command center from Canata. Now Canata managed to sneak that SCV back around in and actually microing it decently now, but it's probably going to get picked off any second. Meanwhile, Jaedong has started his lair, which Canata is going to be able to see. But I think and Jaedong with a proxy hatchery, at the 4 o'clock base, absolutely insane by Jaedong. If Canata scouts this, this is a huge risk. This is a huge risk by Jaedong, and gosh diggity, this could be great, or it could just result in Canata going 2-0 up. Now Jaedong's got the lair down and putting the spire down. I don't think I've seen a hard list end for him yet. So yeah, he's putting the hard list end down as well, but this could be huge.
Wow, I like that maneuver. I think it's extremely clever. One of the problems with Carthage is you get boxed in. If a Terran gets rolling with his economy and he gets good position, you end up getting isolated from your third base. Jaedong's already calculating that fact. Well, it looks like he went kind of for a 3-hatch. This is kind of going to look like that 3-hatch either direction. It looks like he's going to send out some Needles to try to do some harassment, but I think he's trying to give Canata the impression with that blanking all of a sudden Hydrolistan at that total clock position, whereas that as well as that evolution champion, that he was going to go for more of a Mutalisk heavy build and try to just whittle Kanata's economy down more. In fact, it looks like he's going to go for more of a lurker heavy build. And additionally, Canata was, you could see that first SCV scout, it was checking out that 2 o'clock position to see if he was taking that standard off another quick third hatchery, or maybe even a 4th hatchery at that stage. That would have been a little crazy for Jaedong on a 2-player map like this. But anyway, yeah, he is already taking the initiative. He's already going to have troops that are going to be producing outside of his base. That's also going to allow a closer reinforcement point. And he's really going to need to use these Mutalisks as well, because it's absolutely key, first of all, that he keeps any scouts from pushing out, and additionally that he can whittle that Medic Marine army down a little bit. That is one thing about Carthage, is just with the ramps, there's a lot of vulnerability for Medic Marines out in the middle of the field against Mutalisks. So Kanata's going to have to use some very nice Medic Marine micro, which I don't think is his forte, at least he's not known for it. And it looks like Canata might have, just missing a drone there. That was huge, not spotting the hatchery, because Jaedong would not have been able to defend that had he spotted that drone moving to that bottom location. Instead, Jaedong going to get the 2 Sunken Colonies on the front door. That's, I guess, when you're good, luck follows, I guess fortune favors the bold right there. That was absolutely massive. Right, and this is what Canata, I think, was expecting, is an additional hatchery at this location here. You can see he's just marching straight to it, finding nothing, and now he's going to be somewhat confused, I think. Bring his Marines back around. He knows he's not going to get a really good charge at his front door, but he's got to feel just kind of awkward in this game. The hatchery's not where he's expecting it. He thinks he's going against a smaller economy at this stage, and I don't know that he's really going to be able to prepare or adjust his result, particularly against a player of the caliber of Jaedong.
He looks so confused right now, just in the way that I get the vibe from him that he just has no idea what's going on. And the Queen's Nest going down at the 4 o'clock position, so he won't know the hive's coming until it already is down. And that's going to be huge for Jaedong if he can hide that. You're right, he totally is hiding his economy right now, but it's got to be mentioned that he's got an insane economy right now. So it's very possible that Canata might be underestimating him severely, but he is going to get a couple of lurkers, but they're stop lurkers, and they're going to take out almost all the Marines on the legend. Oh my god, he takes out everything but 4 Marines. That was beautiful play. He totally just mind-boggled Canata, and Canata had no idea what was going on there. What a great trap that was just set by Jaedong. I mean, that was masterful. He even lost 2 lurkers in the process, so Canata just seemed to think that it was a miscue on Jaedong's account, but it wasn't. It was just brilliant, and now Jaedong able to clean it up. Canata must be wondering where all these units are coming from. How does he have enough money for that many lurkers so soon? There's the Queen's Nest right now. We're seeing 6 barracks going down, though, for Canata, so Canata and double starport, so we are seeing the SK Terran build. So, if he can get up those science vessels quick enough, he'll be in fine shape, especially with the production capability that he'll have with 6 barracks. But what he's got to do is do things like this, take out that hatchery. You can see in his mini-map that he has no idea that that 4 o'clock location exists yet. Jaedong completely has him duped. And, man, I'm just wondering how long it's going to take for Canata to find it, and how much damage is it going to do to him in the end, not knowing that Jaedong has that type of economy to support him.
Yeah, Jaedong is being incredibly clever here. I won't agree with you, Rise, about the lurkers. I think Jaedong was a little bit careless losing those 3 lurkers. Even if he had 2 stop lurkers, I don't think he wanted to lose the other 3 lurkers and lose all of his lurkers. I think he was trying to get that expansion down at the 11 o'clock base. But Jaedong is being incredibly clever here by going for consistently and trying to take that 11 o'clock expansion, even if it's not succeeding, even if he's just trading units, because he's giving Canata the impression that he doesn't have that 3rd base up, and that he's desperately fighting to get that 3rd base up. And you can see Canata is trying to see where Jaedong's going for that 3rd base, because he feels, okay, I've secured the 1 o'clock location, so maybe he's going to go for the 10 o'clock location. He's obviously not anticipating that Jaedong's going to go, that Jaedong has gone for something as crazy as he has. And now the hive is finished, the Defiler Mount is finished, and another critical thing about this Zerg build is, regardless of the build that Terran goes, when the Zerg goes for this kind of triple hatchery build, that third gas base is usually the deciding factor in the game. If the Terran player can prevent the Zerg from getting that up and defending it, then the Terran player usually wins. If the Zerg player can get it up and hold it for a decent length of time, then usually it allows them to translate into that late game hive tech quickly enough with the Defiler play to be able to win the game. Of course, they still have to micro-well and have to do Scourge control. It looks like another group of Medic and Marines of Canata is getting trapped at the top right, and Jaedong brings Zerglings around to the back as well as Lurkers rushing in. The Lurkers are going to burrow. This group of Medic and Marines is going to get taken out. Jaedong has trapped it. Meanwhile, Reinforcement trying to cut him in from the bottom, but they're getting cut off as well in the middle, and Jaedong is now starting to completely take control of this game. And the greatest thing about Jaedong's build is that he actually has not built any defensive units. Now those starports with control towers starting to kick in, two science vessels out, but we know Jaedong's Scourge play is excellent, and he should be able to keep them down if he plays well. But yeah, Canata needs to do something, but unfortunately he doesn't know what to do, and Jaedong has completely led him down a blind alley. And left him there, and Canata has followed Jaedong, and now he doesn't know where he is. He's lost, and the wolves are circling.
I have to feel like, yeah, Jaedong played this perfectly. He sent out little fake drones here and there to allow Canata to, I think he let it out to the 9 o'clock position. Canata killed that. He's like, okay, economically ahead, I have him sealed 2 bases. I'm just going to starve him out here with my Medic Marines. And he's actually playing a little bit more sacrificially than I think he would otherwise. He's allowing large groups of Medic Marines to kind of get pushed out. And I don't think he'd be staging them in positions where they would be staged out otherwise. And right here, a nice swarm. Looks like he's going to have to back off. He's trying to mix in some fire bats. Let's see if he can save that science vessel. Looks like that science vessel is going to get taken out. This is critical. Jaedong's in a fantastic position. First of all, Canata does not know that additional base is up. He doesn't know that Jaedong has that third gas, and Canata now is actually at risk of getting sealed in his own base if he can't push out and get something done. He really needs to find, that 4 o'clock location and take it out if he's going to get back into this. I can't see him putting in dropship play at this stage of the thing. I feel like the science vessels aren't going to make as much of a difference just because you're going to have so many lurkers out in the field. The defilers, there's already a lot of defilers out there, and Jaedong has the gas to keep spending. Where Canata is actually going to be relegated to 2 bases, and he's going to be taking a 3rd base much later than he would have otherwise. Right now, finding another expansion, looks like he's going to at least be able to stop that, so it's a small victory. I think that's one Jaedong did want to take. Looks like he's got 2 lurkers in position. I still don't think he's going to be able to save this. Never mind, I take it back. He gives more reinforcements pushing in. Only 3 Marines, a single SCV. He's going to be able to wipe out that attack force. More medics trying to run up, but medics versus Zergling is a losing battle. So he's going to have to run these out. And you can just see Canata, I feel like he's still playing in that mind frame where it's like, I've got to starve him out. And he's just being a little bit more aggressive than he should be. Not just building that huge bulk, that big Medic Marine ball. And yeah, it's just destructive to him. Jaedong is just playing genius, and I think that's going to lead him to victory in this game.
And he continues to take out science vessels, which is exactly what he needs to do. This way he can keep as many defilers as possible, and he has even more gas for things like lurkers, and maybe down the line he might go ultras if he ever gets that 4th base secured. And I do think that he has been playing a little bit sacrificial, as you were saying, in order to kind of just keep Canata in that mindset of feeling a lot safer than he really is, because Canata quite clearly has yet to find that other expansion. I mean, maybe he has scanned it at this point, but he hasn't even had a chance to go near it since that initial drone pass by his scouting Marines, or his first push, basically. So, really, Canata, you're right, Jaedong is playing masterfully. I mean, I haven't seen someone, I just feel like Canata just doesn't understand what's going on, you know? It's like, he must feel like he's in over his head almost at this point in this game, because Jaedong, it's like, if he thinks he's starving him, if he thinks he finally just got his 3rd base down, where are all these units coming from? So he's got to suspect something by now, I would imagine, but I just don't know if he is. And now he's trying to get up a 3rd base of his own, and if he can't get that up, Jaedong's going to have to definitely stay ahead somehow. He's going to be on 4 bases. Well, now he's on 4 bases, so that's going to work for him, of course. But he's going to want to stay ahead of him for sure and try to take that down as soon as possible. If he lets Canata get too big, get too much critical mass in those science vessels, he is going to be in a lot of trouble. But now we're seeing that Ultralisk Cavern, now that he has those 4 bases, and Lings are out in a bunker out on the field, but there's no Marines in it to save it. So Canata is forced to run all of his SCVs away, and Lurkers continue just dismantling this force of Firebats that certainly just can't stand up to the Dark Swarm that we're seeing. Whether or not they're with, whether or not their splash can actually hit those units, doesn't even matter. But he is pushing in on Jaedong's front door, which could be successful with the amount of fire bats we're seeing at this point. Jaedong's got to get some lurkers out in that area, and he doesn't have it, and he's going to be in trouble if he can't secure this location. But he is coming in on the back end, and he is basically going to pincer all these units, so he will survive this without any problem, I would imagine.
Yeah, great decision making again by Jaedong. He pulled the defensive units that he had in place at the 1 o'clock base and circled them around. He knew he didn't have enough to hold in his main, and he pulled those units out early enough to get them in place in great swarms as well. And that's, this is the difference between an S-class Zerg and an A-class Zerg. The level of scourges he's landing on those science vessels. I think he's killed at least 6 or 7 science vessels already, Canata with only 2 science vessels out in the field. And secondly, the fact that every time his defilers get irradiated, he always manages to cast a swarm or a plague or something. Another science vessel gets picked off, cast a swarm or plague or something before the defiler dies. Not a single defiler has been wasted and just died without doing anything. And you can just see the amount of concentration in Jaedong's eyes there and the way he's playing it. I think Canata, I'm not sure if he's now discovered that expansion at the 4 o'clock base. I don't think he has. He's still playing blindly, and Jaedong has just completely deceived Canata and outfoxed him. Canata must think that Jaedong is playing with some sort of a cheat. I'm sure he's going to ask, if he doesn't spot that foil, I'm sure he'll spot the 4th base, but I'm sure he's going to want to look at that replay and find out how the hell Jaedong has got the kind of economy he's got. And he really has been. He's just been completely, and again, look at that brilliant Scourge play, and it's all about the timing of those Scourges. That was just beautiful to watch. And that's something that so many Zerg players, it looks easy to do when you see a player like Jaedong do it, and I feel Savior was also doing it in his prime, but I don't think there is any other Zerg player with the kind of, and that hatchery does go down, so that is going to be a brief reprieve for Canata. He's managed to, with a large amount of units, at huge cost to himself, take that hatchery down. It's not going to bother Jaedong though, because I think he's got another hatchery going down at the 9 o'clock and the 10 o'clock bases as well, and he's got map control. Canata, meanwhile, oh my god, Canata is building a command center, so now he's going to see that expansion at the 4 o'clock base, and I think when he sees that, his jaw is just going to hit the floor.
Yeah, he's got to be frustrated here. Those fire bats would have been much more effective had Jaedong just been isolated to those 2 bases. He would have basically been spending his gas on defilers or on some sort of tech, another science vessel, trying to run away, not able to do it, just blown up in the open field. That's depressing. Just trying to run away, can't do it. And yeah, those fire bats would have been effective with just a fewer amount of lurks, but the lurk count has just been very high. I'm sure that's been confusing Canata. He's like, where is he getting the gas for all these lurkers? But as soon as he lifts off that command center, floats it out there, and discovers that base, that's probably going to be a huge sinking moment. It's not going to make a difference, though, it looks like, because these Ultralisks already bearing down, already underneath the swarm, and then again, another medic marine group going to get killed, and again, Canata just expending marine force after marine force after marine force. He's been behind on upgrades, it seems, the entire game. Jaedong just done such a great job of wiping out whatever forces out in the field, and Canata has never really been able to get that brute mass of medic marines. He's never really gone over a full control group this entire game.
What's interesting is that we just saw the first-person views of both players, and Canata actually saw Jaedong's 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock base, whatever you want to call that, on the minimap. So I'm questioning how long he's known that for. So obviously at this point he knows exactly what's going on. Jaedong, though, just hasn't even had to defend it. And now it looks like Canata is finally trying to send a little bit of a force over there, but with the Nidus Canal, I think Jaedong's going to have no problem. And GG coming from Canata as he starts getting surrounded on that last little cliff. So Jaedong going to take game 2 and bring it to a 1-1 series. Man, what do you guys think of that?
Absolutely brilliant play by Jaedong, in my opinion. Really, really clever. And he just completely outfoxed Canata, really. And I think, to me, that's creative play. 8 racks isn't creative play. That's creative play, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that was brutal. Now, Canata, I'm sure he's going to look at the replay, and you can see him thinking it over right now. He's like, how the heck? When did he slip that by me? What did I do wrong there? And I'm sure he's going to look back over that, try to think. The thing is now Jaedong's going to have to play twice as hard. He's got, first of all, I feel like Canata had Jaedong on his toes. Now Jaedong has Canata on his toes, and this is just going to be an immense mental battle going into Game 3. Series tied at 1-1. And both guys, I got to say, even though Canata was in a losing fight there, it almost felt like he was playing well, but it didn't make a difference. He was going up against a player who just seemed to have hacks on. Even that SCV running around, the Zergling managing to just get little ticks, little hits, it's just insane. I mean, how do you beat a guy that's as good as Jaedong? It just feels like his Zerglings are more powerful or stronger. His Mutalisks have extra armor and extra hit points or something. He's just so good.
Yeah, fantastic performance by Jaedong there, and we'll see you guys in the next game, which is game 3.